Alright guys, hello and welcome back to another video. This time again in the MD-11, we'll be showing you a very quick and easy autopilot tutorial, and hopefully you'll understand it a little bit more. I want to preface this video with if you use the 737 autopilot panel or the Airbus autopilot panel, even the CRJ, all autopilot panels are basically identical. Some just have a little different features and or different logic behind the actual buttons that you're pressing. So we're going to be doing that right now. We just took off from Munich, and I just have a star loaded, the Rockwell 1 Alpha, but we're not going to fly the approach. We will be doing an approach video shortly, but we're just going to be showing you how changing different speeds works, heading versus nav mode, VNAV and vertical speed, and their version of flight level change. So we're just going to go through the autopilot basics. All right, let's go ahead and jump in the aircraft here. All right, so we were doing a flight simulating from Copenhagen to Munich, but what we're going to do here is we're just on currently a speed set of 250, a heading of 080, and we're holding at 10,000 feet. Now, really quickly, I do want to say that this is a very important window here in all aircraft that have this window. It's called an FMA, a Flight Mode Annunciator. And the CRJ has it, the Airbus has it, the 737 has it, 87 has it, all those big airliners have it. This one does as well. So the FMA is telling you what the airplane is doing. And so anytime you say, hey, what is this doing? Or if you hear any aircraft investigation videos and the pilots say, what's going on? What's it doing? I'm going to say like seven times out of 10, you're going to want to just check this, right? So this is what the airplane is doing. We're holding 250 knots. We're on a heading. The airplane is doing 8080 on the heading, and it's holding 10,000 feet, and it's autopilot 1. So the autopilot is flying this for you. If I want to, let's say, accelerate my speed to 260, for example, I'm going to go over here, scroll this knob to 260, and then I'm going to pull out. You can think of out as me. I'm telling it to do it. Kind of like the Airbus. Same mentality. I'm pulling out, so I want it to do it. Notice I've scrolled it to 260, but it stays hollow, so I need to pull out like that. It goes bold 260 thrust. The thrust gets advanced, and we're going to go maintain 260 knots. Same thing over here. I want 220 knots, for example. Pull 220. So always set the speed and then pull. That's how you can manually change the speed. Now, if you wanted to fly the speeds in the FMS, as you can see here, that we're going to be coming up to our top of descent shortly. It has us at our top of descent of 310. If you wanted to fly the FMS speeds, you simply click FMS speed. And now you can see it says 309, and the aircraft is going to start thrusting on up to reach that 309 speed, or whatever speed that you've selected in your FMS. You can change a restriction or a speed you'd like. If you want to go to MIQ, click this button here, and you can see, like, let's say I want MIQ, I want it at 240 knots. Okay, I'm telling it I want it at 240 knots, and then you have a choice. You can tell it I want you to be at 8,000 or above, right? Or you can tell it at 8,000 or below, and then the other choice, the third choice there, was at 8,000. So you can tell it at or above, at or below, which is kind of cool. Then you can see MIQ now says 240 at 8,000 feet. So what we can do right now is we're doing the FMS speed. However, we're on a heading. So we're on a heading of 080. You can either go heading mode, and the way to do that is you move your heading, same as the speed. Notice I've moved the heading indicator to the right, 120, but nothing's happening, so I need to pull. And now it goes heading 120. So anytime you want to manually select something, you set what you want, and then you pull for it. Okay, now, we are still in, we're in holding 10,000 feet. If I go ahead and put this to, let's say, 20,000 feet, because I haven't reached my cruise altitude yet, and if I click, there's multiple ways to get to 20,000 feet. You have to choose your climbing mode now. So you can either use prof, which is VNAV, or you can pull, and pulling is going to be the identical version of flight level change in the Boeings, or managed, sorry, not managed, or open climb in this case for the Airbus. So pull will give you climb thrust 20,000. It's pitching for 309 knots. So it's going to give you the max climb thrust, and it's just going to go for it. Doesn't care what restrictions. Clicking prof, now it's pink, climb thrust 20,000. Now we're in VNAV. So now it'll take all the restrictions you have in route if you're climbing on a SID or descending onto a star. So prof is your VNAV. Okay? So far we have FMS speed is pink, climb thrust VNAV to 20,000. And then we have a heading of 120. Let's go direct to MIQ. So MIQ, direct. Let's take MIQ. And now we can just press direct. Okay, navigation source is available. We're in heading of 120. Let's go ahead and click the nav button. And now we're in LNAV, basically. So we're pitching for 309 knots up to 20,000 feet. And we're LNAV, or nav in the Airbus term, towards MIQ. Now, something that happens in real world, I've been told in the MD-11, is you're going to have to come back here and redirect yourself to MIQ to get a better direct. Sometimes it doesn't give itself the enough room to turn, so you'll have to come back and do that. Now, notice, as we're going direct MIQ, MIQ is on the arrival into Munich here. So this is our arrival Munich, or MIQ, begin, and then you go in for runway 8 right over there. Notice this pink line here. This is our top of descent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this knob in, and that's going to press hold, and that's going to press hold at an altitude that's going to be able to level off at. So now we're just going to start leveling off. I can press it again, but nothing really going to change. It's going to hold this altitude. So that's a quick level off button, basically. You can think of it as. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune in here. 8,000 feet. That's what we set for MIQ. Right? MIQ. 8,240 knots. So 8,000 feet. 8,000 feet is selected. We're going to click the prof button for VNAV because we've exited the VNAV mode by pushing this knob in. We're going to re-enter the VNAV mode. You can see it says we're holding 15,900, and it's going to be armed. It's going to start descending once it gets to this top of descent line over here. Now, we never reached to our cruise altitude, so now that's why it's saying 35,000 feet here. All right, we're coming up on top of descent. Again, we never reached our cruise altitude of 35,000, but we just passed our top of descent. Let's see if it can sequence itself into the descent mode. I might be able to click prof one more time. There it goes. Vert alert. Prof 8,000. There you go. And you get your VNAV path right there, so you can see we're slightly above it. You can also go to the performance page. Where is it here? Perf. You can see we're 500 feet high, and it's going to start fixing that. Now, I told it, and again, you can leave it as assigned, or if ATC assigns you something, but I've told it 240 knots at 8,000 feet. So it's going to be descending me with that in mind. It's going to descend me at 8,000 feet to hit MIQ at 8,000, and it's going to be also having its brain to slow for 240. I'll admit, the VNAV in this thing is incredible. I have actually not needed to use the spoiler once. It's very, very good. Now, the FMS, if you have the arrival runway plugged in as we do today, you can see ILS 8 right, should automatically tune your ILS frequency. Right now it did 109.3, and it's a course of 080. And I like to click it just to make it a bigger number there. Now, if it doesn't, you can just come in here and type this as you see it. So you would type in 109.30/080, and you can enter it in there. But it already does it for me, so we don't have to type it in. Okay. The last thing in this video will be how to turn off your autopilot and auto throttle, and then also we're going to be covering your approach and land button. So let's say you want to turn off or disengage your autopilot and or your auto thrust. So the buttons you're going to want to have mapped. If I go to the settings, then controls, on my Moza yoke, I'll go to assigned, The button you're going to want to have mapped. I have autopilot toggle master, but you can also have autopilot, I think, off, I think also works. And then on the throttle side of things, you're going to want auto throttle disconnect as well. So I'm going to press my autopilot master button, which is this button. We're replicating pressing this. Press it once. It's going to constantly blink and warn you. Press it again. Now the autopilot is off and the cavalry charge is silenced. Now to disable the auto thrust, we're going to press that auto thrust disconnect button and you're going to see auto thrust off. We're going to press it once more and we've silenced the blinking lights. To turn all that back on, you could just press auto flight and the auto thrust and the autopilot get engaged simultaneously. Keep that in mind. Anytime there's a box, that means it's manual. So notice if I disengage auto throttle again, notice the box. Now this is manual. Autopilot, this is manual. Auto flight, all automatic. There's no boxes. All right, guys. So we're just on the kind of a left base leg for runway 8 right here into Munich. So we're just going to turn ourselves to the left and pulse to start turning. I'm going to decrease my scale here a little bit. Right now we have the glide slope is super high, so we're below the glide slope. That's good. And then the localizer is going to be far off to the right-hand side, which is what we expect at the time being. We're going to give ourselves our own vectors, but what we're going to do is we're going to press APPR land, and you're going to press this once you've gotten clearance to intercept the loc and or the glide slope as well. By the way, guys, let's say if I move my heading indicator here, but I push my heading knob, it sinks to where I'm going. So I press approach land. We're going to turn right. And pull in that heading indicator. Notice the FMS thrust still has us at 245. Now you can manually take control of this. You can pull and bring it down if you want. But as soon as we intercept the loc and bring the gear down and everything, it should sequence into its approach speed. But we'll start bringing it down ever so slightly here. If you're having ILS capture issues though, be sure to go in the NavRad page, make sure this is big numbers, and you can type them in manually if you want as well, but it should automatically do it for you. All right, there's the localizer alive, loc captured. Put it back to the approach or the map page. And there's our runway right there. Now keep in mind, pressing this heading indicator in or out will cause the localizer to lose capture. Here comes the glide slope. We're going to drop the gear. All right, guys. Well, with that, you should know how to use the autopilot a little bit better in the MD-11 now. Thank you so much for watching. The next tutorial is what you're seeing right now. We're going to be doing the landing tutorial on our next video. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by and hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.